check again, but this would kind of play out to that factor. But for now, we'll kind of leave it as is. We do have the T side being Na'Vi, and Edward already going to find a little bit of a scuffle to be found, and Simple there to kind of put him to task as Zach will go down.
And this is exactly what we're trying to build up into this matchup here, Lauren, is the fact that it's Na'Vi playing more passive, Epsilon going to get aggressive on the CT side, and potentially walking into the stacks of the setups coming up from Na'Vi. Nice shot there from Samir playing towards APC, and he will fall back actually towards default. 4 versus 3 now, no defuse kit, however, for the side of Epsilon, but thankfully for the CT side. Front of the frags, left, right, and center, so maybe the defuse kit won't actually pay off.
And for a team like Epsilon, in my eyes, especially when you're coming in against a team of a higher caliber to reputation standard, you want to get that early start in your favor. You especially don't want to be losing a 4v2. These sort of situations can really mentally hinder you. So for me, this should be nice and clean. Na'Vi trying to find a route through, an avenue of approach to bring the Glocks to bear, and that P250 that Electronic is holding. Smooya, though, taken a little bit low, but they are opting for a bit of a passage. The bomb's been lost. It's down to Electronic to try and maybe do some damage, take something away, but a very clean start for Epsilon. Exactly what you want to be feeling coming into this. Not like, okay, Na'Vi are untouchable, we're going to struggle here. No. Good start, clean shots, nice approach from Smooya, and you want Smooya to be having good early games. Players specifically will feel more confident with those early kills, and even some teams feel better with eco-frags. They'll set up one player to get them.
It's true. I remember Sean Gers did an interview actually back when he had Shroud on Cloud9. He used to actually make Shroud push on the anti-ecos, right? Get the frags going in their favor, get them confidence, get the scoreboard basically rallied up early on, and give your star players the confidence that's required to go for the confidence picks, essentially. You know, getting aggressive, finding the openings, especially as the AWPer as well. You need to have that confidence to go for the peak towards A long, go for the matrix pick towards middle, or get aggressive towards the platform, game early map control, and use the information to your advantage.
So far, so good. Zach there with the awkward mouse wheel jump, I can imagine. He does get found in the end. He was already taken quite low, but Smooya should be where this kind of line stops. And I'm wondering with Na'Vi if they go for these kind of more assertive purchases down the line, if they're playing a little bit more loose with their economy. For now, too early to tell, but if they keep going on force buys, for example, will that be a hindrance if they don't respect the opponent and they feel like there's always a turnaround available? That's something to keep eyes on. But for now, we'll keep kind of into this round. It's a 4v3, still very viable for Na'Vi to do a lot of damage. They have rotated back towards B. They're looking at that drop potential. But Surreal, I like this spot. He was holding it for a little while, backs away, and hopefully he flashes himself back into this and doesn't just slowly peek. And there's the flash for him. Nicely set up. Didn't actually catch anyone openly facing, but we'll see what they get here. It looks like they've got an idea what's happening.
Electronic as well, able to come in close. Actually, we'll catch Surreal off guard with his knife out, trying to retreat towards Statue. But a nice refrag there from Robin. It's going to be the 2 versus 3. As now Robin holding off towards Speedway for Na'Vi as well. They have the bomb in their possession. The problem is right now, using the smoke from Zeus to potentially allow the cross towards Statue and get that bomb planted.
Yeah, the smokes come in. Electronic's doing the work. That's Robin down. Cosmi's trying to sneak himself into a good spot, and that's exactly what he found. Electronic dealt with. It's Zeus to remain and Smooya to close. Good work from Epsilon. A little close, but at this point, you just want rounds on the boards. Na'Vi unable to get the plant, keeping their money pretty humble.
Precisely. And that's the thing as well. It's a really good point you brought up actually early on about the idea of Na'Vi potentially over force buying. We know exactly how quick or easy Zeus is to pull the trigger on going for the force buy. But obviously, when you look at their roster, Flamey, Simple, and their truck, they have the firepower to go for those audacious buy. You know, Simple the CZ, Simple the Deagle can definitely tarnish a CT side's economy going forward. And obviously, there is those magical rounds that definitely can come to fruition. But right now, here for Epsilon, playing versus the full eco, you want to have your UMP stacking up the cash, obviously $600 per frag. Smooya obviously pushing for the aggression, trying to get some cash in his bank.
It's a nice little almost one-way smoke to a degree if you sit yourself there in the bottom left corner, but you've got to be careful. You shouldn't be kind of letting yourself drop too much, but at least you went out there with the UMP, if anything. So if you're going to lose something here, that's not the, it's not the end of the world. And now you can see Flamey trying to encroach a little bit forward, and that's a problem. So that gets overwhelmed now. That's 2 guns lost. That's a bigger loss as well. The FAMAS is not something you want to be losing. No armor on the T side either. So they shouldn't have the longevity, but there's still utility on Epsilon as well to maybe hinder this, but they're going to be spread thin. Any rotations being pulled from Na'Vi are going to really hinder that CT side.
4 versus 3. FAMAS wielded by Flamey. UMP there for Edwards. Flamey will make his way up towards middle. Has the bomb in the possession as well for Zeus, so he's close there for the trade frag. They might actually use Zeus and Simple as trade opportunities here and use the rifles from Flamey and Edward to get those trade frags and utilize the fact they have the man advantage.
Robin, why are you giving yourself away at this? He's already gone dink down to 24 here. This is really problematic. With Cosmine falling, the flood has just come through. This is a very sloppy round from Epsilon. They've been whittled down 1 by 1 here. Surreal's going to have to go above and beyond to pull this one through. That's a good connection, and there's still no armor. Keep that in mind with full utility. Surreal is going to have to work overtime on this. Oh my god, Surreal, land one more shot and it should be yours. Zeus is so low, he's got nothing left in the clip. Still, 8 HP on Surreal. You got Zeus on 38 with no armor. Zeus is buying time. That's the name of the game. Good work from Surreal to use the utility. 4 kills in the end for him, but that felt like it was falling apart.
1 versus 4 there from Surreal. The initial 2 players as well towards APC, and also the first player that died, I believe it was in towards the connector area, gave the advantage, not even the advantage, or gave the opportunity there for Surreal to go for that one. None of the players from Na'Vi actually having Kevlar, obviously versus the M4, easy frags to find. Play at the time, you have a 4 versus 1 advantage. There's no reason to give away those early frags. I believe it was Simple playing the headshot angle towards APC, which is fair enough. You know, you want to be playing headshot angles when you are lacking Kevlar, obviously.
Absolutely.
Only showing your head. If it is body shots that are taken, obviously, having your crosshair sent towards the sky, lacking the Kevlar with the aim punch isn't really the song you want to be singing.
Well, here comes the interesting round, isn't it? The buy-up from both sides. Good purchases all around. Robin backing away onto the UMP, still completely viable on this map, whether it be by drop, the very kind of... I think it was Flusher who initially did that for Fnatic consistently. He'd pick that over any other gun to hold drop with at some point. Deep smoke from platform, going to be kind of pushing and isolating players back a little here. Simple does have himself up above this though, so he could still do a lot of damage. But Epsilon putting a 4-1 into practice, putting a lot of faith into Zach to not fall for anything. Great work from Smooya to take the opportunity to take down Simple. That's the head you need to be hunting.
Precisely. Simple taken out of the server there by Smooya. And one of the things we mentioned in the prelude as well is how crucial it is to have the aggression from the likes of Smooya, Surreal, your star players to gain map control as well with the AWP. And now for Epsilon, actually they're not going to be keeping complete control towards B-plat. They had the smoke there. They didn't actually molly out towards the wooden cubby towards the left side of back plat. That means they will be lacking information potentially towards B platform. But then again, with the man advantage, they can play more passive now. They can utilize the fact they have the man advantage here. Bomb still left outside towards drop. 35 seconds left here for Na'Vi. They're going to be going for the head boost here, trying to clear out towards window.
I'm very pleased to see Epsilon not openly challenging this either. You've got Smooya playing quite passive down by the doors, so ideally someone's keeping tabs on this, and I'm hoping he's heard that. Cosmine finding Flamey should give away the game here, and Cosmine's doing damage. He's kind of the rotating turret sitting by that pizza slice. Now Smooya's gone down to Edward. It is going to be down to the 2 remaining players, and this could still be problematic. Electronics gone into action, but look at the time!
What?
They had 9 seconds, and they get completely shattered. Epsilon fall by the wayside. They had that all in the bag then for them, and they completely crumbled. What the hell just happened?
Dramatic irony, obviously, having the 20/20 vision. We saw the bomb was towards above drop. Na'Vi with 15 seconds left. They didn't have time to boost up towards drop, retrieve the bomb, run it all the way back towards the A bomb site. There was no avenue for success there for Na'Vi unless they found the frags. Epsilon, unfortunately, having no idea as to where the bomb was placed, overfaced. And unfortunately, the lack of information towards where the bomb was dropped was their demise.
And Epsilon buy back into this. They know that Na'Vi's money is going to be pretty fragile at this point.
Na'Vi's money as well, but also Epsilon's. You've got to remember the economical repercussions, right, for losing 4 players versus the full eco coming up from Na'Vi, right? Yes, you can push and try to get frags with the SMGs and stack up your cash, but it's high risk, high reward in the sense that if you're conceding 4 lives, if you're conceding 4 weapons, 4 Kevlars, 4 sets of utility, that's a costly reinvestment, and right now Epsilon are definitely biting the bullet on that one.
And they might be falling for this hook, line, and sinker. We'll see how long they stack up 2 players towards long on A, but that bomb's really not been moving too much. It's kind of, again, looking like it's going to go towards long. We do have a little bit of a play from Flamey here, trying to kind of pressure towards that B side. They haven't fully committed Na'Vi. They are running the clock down, and I respect that they've also retained their Molotovs here.
Great word to describe Na'Vi's T side, pressure. They use the clock, they play it slow, and they gain pressure all across the map. You can see they have B plat control. They did send players towards there. They're holding for aggression towards their long or from middle from Epsilon. And also towards drop as well. You can see Zeus tentative as he may want to eventually take control. But let's see now. So we're all spot out Flamey. The bomb has been spotted potentially as well as the rotation comes in. Smooya now making his way from window towards the B side. But Zeus with the first.
Yeah, Zeus being allowed out this far is a huge problem already. Funny, and it's going to be on Zach. He's going to have everything. There's 4 players moving towards him. He's found 1. Electron goes down. If he can buy time, this is phenomenal. 20 seconds and that bomb is left in a really tricky predicament. Cosmine's looking for opportunities because they've turned around. Zach actually held them off from going back towards A, but by this point, the bomb's already going to be going down on B with 10 seconds to spare. It's close, but by now, this is surely all she wrote.
Save the AK here if you are T-Sac. You have the kid as well. Kevlar sees that he can drop over the CZ to another player on your team, retrieve the AK or salvage the AK even into round number 6. You have the defuse kit as well, so just in case a miracle round does happen, potential frags with the USP or the CZ that's saved, you can try and save the day with an eco victory. But unfortunately, T-Sac will be found from behind. Edward does claim that frag. 3-2 now as we head into round number 6. And it's going to be Na'Vi finally gaining a firm grasp on this one. Obviously doing so much economical damage with their eco. Only one player surviving, that was Surreal, into the first buy round. They knew if they won that round, there would be such poor, or essentially no money left going into the remaining buys. And you can see it right here. The eco already thrown out and dished out here for Epsilon. High chance here we see 3-3 scoreline. And this is a round as well for Na'Vi, where having the MAC-10, having 4 or 5 players staying alive, utilize the MAC-10 to stack up as much cash as possible, obviously $600 per frag, but also having the 4 or 5 bodies surviving into the next round, so you don't have to afford going for the reimbursements and the rebuys in your utility, Kevlar, and also firepower.
For now, you can see Na'Vi, I'm glad to see them doing this, kind of going through the motions. They're doing great at taking over drop control. They're pressuring all around, and this is something you should be consistently seeing from them no matter what the round is. They'll probably stack up now and bring the bomb over. And even if they do go towards the stack site, which is B, I feel as though they're still in a very good position to kind of capitalize on this.
Oh, for certain, yeah. I mean, obviously, if there was an AK towards Chicken Coop, potentially...
Then there's problems.
Exactly.
But for now, there's one Deagle on Surreal, who already had a very big round, but to be able to find impact here would be very, very difficult. On the other side of things for Na'Vi, you want Electronic to be getting the kills with that MAC-10. Maybe pop it over to Zeus if you do need someone else to take over. Surreal, great work from him. The flash a little late coming through for Na'Vi, but Zeus has found a way back through, as does Simple. And this should be a cleanup, but there's still threats aboard. Good work from the Epsilon side. Any guns taken away is brilliant, but control in the end by Na'Vi. 3 alive, they could recover the AWP, which they've done, and I think they'll miss out on 1 rifle. But at the end of the day, they keep control of what they were doing, keep building up the funds.
So, round number 7 is going to be the second full buy round we're going to be witnessing here as well. We saw the force buy earlier from Epsilon, but it was only CZs, Deagles, I believe 1 or 2 UMPs. We don't actually see the full cusp of a full investment going forward. For now, for Epsilon, it will be the op here for Smooya. Robin going to be investing, as you said before. The reason actually the UMP usually is bought for the drop players because you can afford the utility, right? The Molotov, the early Molotov towards drop, having the smoke to smoke out electric, having the flashbangs to flash and then re-enter in towards drop, having the mobility as well. You've got to remember, you can run a gun with that UMP. It's so crucial to have the utility towards drop, to fend off the T side. You know, you could argue the utility is far more crucial or pivotal or more important than actually having the firepower of the M4. And Robin actually has enough cash as well to invest into that diffuse kit. So the buy is decent here for Epsilon, as it will be mid-control coming up from Na'Vi, trying to utilize the op from Simple. And if he is actually holding the angle, he might find the first frag onto Smooya.
Bit of a miss there from Smooya. Could have gone worse. They don't get killed just yet, but they have very little ground here. Smooya's holding on by a very thin margin, but that may be all he needs. Goes back in for more. He's already taken down 2, but eventually gets put to place by Edward. 3v2 now. Simple and Edward still alive, but you can see Surreal in a great position. What is that, Surreal? Come on, my guy. He had everything to go for him here. Oh, Simple, you're insane. That shot was pure filth. And now it's Cosmine against Edward in the 1v1. And Cosmine, it doesn't matter what tricks you're bringing out, Simple. The round goes to Epsilon, but what the hell was that shot?
A lifeline there was dished out to Na'Vi. The jumping no-scope coming out from Simple. You heard as well. I'm not sure if that relayed as well onto the broadcaster home. Cyril was saying in TeamSpeak, my God, he's just jumping shot me.
What are you meant to do against that? You know what I mean?
What
You're
can
sat
you
there
do,
just
essentially?
like,
I mean,
all right.
the chance of that happening is so low. In that scenario as well, a 2 versus 2, I believe it was. My goodness, but Cosmine does seal the deal. 4-3, but also once again, it's the exact same narrative here for Epsilon on the CT side. The money is thin, and Na'Vi getting close towards the smoke, about to go for the burst play, trying to see if they can counter the op from Smooya. But unfortunately here for Na'Vi, it's the rifles that are locked in towards B.
Great positioning from Surreal here, just on the verge of that smoke. He's been able to hinder them pretty well thus far. Flamey actually being a little bit hesitant, being a little bit cautious, taking on anyone by that rock side. The play through drop doesn't come through as effectively, but this is freed up Simple now. Now removing Robin, unleashes the rest of the T side, and it's just T-Zac to be trying to deal with 3 players. No bomb plant, a little lost in the smoke, and presents himself to Flamey.
Precisely. Na'Vi expecting Smooya to be opening towards that B-bomb set once again. Obviously, in the first 4 binary we saw Smooya going for black control, B-plat control at that. So Na'Vi, smoke out towards Olof, the Molotov as well towards stairs to keep the AWP far back, getting close as well with the AK-47s, and then go for the burst play towards Plat to try and counter the AWP, try and flood the AWP with the flashbang and the quick execution, and it did work out and paid off its dividends. 4-4 now going forward, and as I said before, Epsilon having such close rounds means their economy's never been in a position where it can establish such money where they can afford a loss. They can afford a loss, still have enough cash in the bank to rebuy or reimburse themselves for another 4 buy going forward, but unfortunately now you can see the full investment potentially. Actually, if we can see the money, if that's okay, Observer, just to see how much cash Epsilon have. If they have gone for the force buy as well, this is
Yep.
worrying here. This is where Na'Vi can really gain the advantage going forward, right? They win this round, it goes 5-4. A full eco for Epsilon as well into round number 10. So a 6-4 scoreline. Na'Vi gonna have so much cash going forward as well. Things are gonna be looking good.
Yeah. There are other casters in the room near us.
I know,
who's making
I
me laugh.
know.
They're very loud.
These
It's quite,
Arena,
quite cute.
what game is they casting? Arena of
Don't know.
Valor, I think. Yeah, some MOBA game.
Yeah, it's quite funny.
It is. It is.
The reason I'm noticing is because it's a very quiet moment in game, at least for now.
It's the downtime, you know, what else are you
It
supposed
is.
to say apart from there's 5 players going in towards middle with the Bombers one, and actually a poor time rotation coming out from Epsilon.
Look at this play-by-play from Snods here.
That's
I'm
not
liking
play-by-play,
it.
that's
Hit
just-
me up with it. Let's go.
No, that's not my avenue, mate. That's not me. Hey. Stay in your lane, as they say.
Staying in your lane. I like it. I like it. All right. And speaking of staying in the lane, Na'Vi has spotted where they want to go, and they are sticking to it. A looks very vulnerable. They've isolated a good couple of players. They've gotten control, but the one fun factor could be this little bit of a flank here. Again, Edward, good position with the MAC-10, could find 2 off this. Curious to see if they go for the kind of deeper face, trying to take it back. And Surreal could be the victim on this one. Maybe playing for exits. Maybe just trying to keep hold of the armor. And they're not going to have much going into the next round anyway.
Exactly. The chance you win this round is maybe 1 in 10 at best. So you may as well just salvage or save your Deagles, CZs, Kevlars, but you have a flashbang as well for Surreal. You can use that towards the platform. You can utilize that to retake drop in the next round as well if you want to get close range with the CZs. No reason to throw away your investment already, as you have a much better chance into the next round. Maybe go for a stack again towards A or B, whichever site you prefer. But already though, Surreal will find 1. Run before Flamey chimes in and finds Cosmine. Still 3 players surviving. Make it 2 actually. Simple finds 1 frag with the AWP. But unfortunately, obviously, you want to find those frags to the MAC-10 instead of the AWP, but then again, kills are kills.
Don't think these guys should be dying after time. I think they're good. They are going to hold on to at least the CZ. And I think that was a Deagle, possibly on the other player. I'm not 100% sure here. But yeah, money-wise, it's
dire once again,
it
isn't
is
it?
dire. It's going to be slim pickings for a while. There's no disputing that Na'Vi will take control now for a good couple of rounds. Very unlikely there'll be a turn of events unless, you know, someone goes off crazy. And we're seeing good CS from Na'Vi. A couple of rounds have gone quite close, but you know, if you look at how the rounds have gone, with the initial pistol and then kind of the follow-up, beyond Epsilon picking up the first 3, this has been, you know, quite a, I wouldn't say a one-sided affair at all, but it has been Na'Vi taking back control. Now, I like the push out from Epsilon. They're trying to make something happen. Why not go for it? It's not really worked out beyond the 1 kill, and it is what it is. But you've got to try and make something happen, right?
Yeah, I mean, to go back to your point as well, right, how dominant has this game been so far for Na'Vi? I mean, if you remove the buffer from the pistol rounds, obviously the pistol round being 1, the round where they won versus the force by, that's 2 rounds. You know, you look past that. Obviously, the eco round win for Na'Vi, that was the first round of the board. But at this point, yeah, 6-2 in terms of rounds past the pistol. And that does go to show us the potential one-sided affair so far on this first map going forward for Epsilon. Obviously, this is their map pick going forward. Unless the veto screen, the veto graphic did lie to us.
I'm going to double-check that right now. So
On HLTV, is
yeah.
it HLTV confirmed? I guess we're about to find out.
I will find out for you.
Nevertheless, round number 11 here. Simple once again for the AWP, and it will be 4 AKs this time for Na'Vi. No UMPs, no MAC-10s. It will be the full-fledged firepower for the CIS-sided team. Coming out from Epsilon once again, Robin going to be investing into the fuse kit, UMP, and full utility. Smooya with the AWP, but lacking that Kevlar. And obviously, for an aggressive AWPer like Smooya, not having the armor, may come back to haunt him as he's holding the potential pixel angle here towards A long. Edward holding the angle, but he's holding for the aggression coming out from Smooya. And will Smooya take that B?
Simple. Vying for options towards middle. Does look like an A split, at least for now. If they commit any further towards A, you've got the 2 players who could work their way through drop.
I think that's interesting as well, coming up from Na'Vi. They're only sending 1 player towards B platform. They have 1 holding towards drop. They're leaving Zeus alone towards B. Zeus is using his grenades. You can see only has the Molotov left. He smokes plat, he flashes plat. Epsilon, if they start to realize there's only 1 player towards B on these T-sided defaults for Na'Vi and 3 towards A, we might be seeing the AWP from Smooya go towards B platform, countering control towards B platform. Obviously, if you leave the AWP alone towards B plat, you have that perfect information.
Ooh, Smooya already going to find Electronic. Good impact to begin with. They need to hinder this approach, allow time for rotations to come in and maybe feel out if there's anyone left over by B. And they've just pulled over Cosmine now as well. 2 players going to work their way up by APC. Simple does outdo Tizak, and that opens up the opportunities now for Na'Vi. They are starting to push forward, but the rotation was quick from Epsilon as Robin now going to be surrounded. Does actually manage to take down Simple. That's the bomb gone loose, but can they keep control of anything else? Surreal gets plucked from the air, and it's Edward again, looking with Flamey for options, and those 2 collect 2 kills each, and another round on the board for Na'Vi.
7-4. 3-round advantage here for Na'Vi going forward as they win yet another buy round. And the exact same narrative here for Epsilon. You lose a round, you're forced onto a weak buy, potential quasi-buy here. We could be seeing Kevlar, pistols coming forward for Epsilon. Once again for Robin, though, Kevlar, CZ, Smoke Grenade, and HE. The only issue here is, will he be forced yet again onto the UMP for the next buy round? What if we see Robin with the M4? Will that be the difference maker going forward? But for Na'Vi, as I said before, they're sending 3 players towards the A site. They're not being, or what's the word I'm looking for? Contested towards B platform. You know, we saw it early on from Smooya. We found the first frag, but then he instantly rotates, right? They leave plat control alone. And for Na'Vi, if they keep being given B for free, this could be a very one-sided T-half.
Absolutely could be. And I'm glad to see it. For storyline's sake, it's always exciting to see someone challenging the likes of Na'Vi, and they have had a rough time of things, and it's, you know, a vulnerability point. But overall, it's good to see Na'Vi bringing out good CS. And Epsilon, you know, they do put up fights. There have been close games. We can see that individual power, but playing to the narrative that it should be, Na'Vi do have that kind of fuller hand to play their cards with. They should have more opportunities, more things to look towards in how they hit and their approach. And keep in mind, Epsilon, this team isn't exactly refined. It's
Especially
not exactly
on the CT side as well. You know, it's always the T sides we're expecting to be incredibly one-sided. But yeah, as you said before, for Na'Vi as well, they have so many options going forward. I mean, one of the things you can say in Counter-Strike is when you have cash, when you have money, you can take risks. You have the money to back it up. You know, in business, they say when you have enough money to keep you afloat, you can take risks. You can have money for a rainy day. You can expand. And for Na'Vi right now, they have so much cash, essentially they can buy for the rest of the half. That means there's going to be so much economical pressure on Epsilon. You know, they win 2 rounds in a row. Say it does go to, for example, I don't know, 7-5 or 7-6, right? Na'Vi are going to be able to continuously buy going forward. And for Epsilon, if their money stays on that razor's edge, 1 round lost, they're back to pistols.
Flamey clearing out drop meticulously. As,
good word to use for Na'Vi. You know, no stone left unturned, essentially. Clearing everything, every angle's going to be flashed out for themselves. They wait until 30 seconds left. They clear every angle. They clear every boost. They wait for all the utility to be dished out from the CT side, and then they take their prey.
But you know what? It's good to see, because this hasn't always been the way of Na'Vi either. There's been games before, even if it's, you know, it's online CS, but this is, you know, leading to a qualifier. It's a little bit more high stakes than your normal kind of like online season. I'll say that for now. So you do tend to get slightly better CS out of, you know, the bigger teams. But it's good to see Na'Vi doing this, sort of, you know, crossing the T's, dotting the I's, because before you've seen them kind of being a little bit lax, a little bit, you know, just, oh, we'll run through them. It's good to see them taking this approach.
It's interesting you bring that up, actually, the different styles for Na'Vi. Obviously, before, they were so readable in the sense that, you know, you save your grenades, you play passive, maybe bring out a double op setup as well. With the double op setup, you can save your utility going forward. Obviously, you have the ops to cover the long-range distances, or the map control at that. But you save your utility, right? 45 seconds, you use your smokes. Or if you have 2 smokes towards the A-bomb site, for example, you can double smoke alley at 1 minute. Obviously, 15 seconds left, 45. Then you send the second smoke out. There's 30 seconds left towards a long potential towards middle. Then you use your Molotovs. You whittle down the clock, right? You wait for your utility to be used and extinguished at the latter portions of the round. But in an interview, I believe it was either Edward or Zeus, he said that we had to switch our game plan up. We had to switch our play style where we could go for those rushes. We've already seen it here. Think about the round where they did the burst contact play towards B, where they rushed through that smoke with 1 minute 50 left on the clock. Conversely, now, meticulous play, taking control of middle with a minute left on the clock. They're playing slow, and they can play both of these styles to counter whatever the opposition throw at them.
This is slightly different in the fact that, at least looking at this round, the bomb's still very much swung over towards B. They've pulled rotations over. They've shown that they do like to go towards A, and this is kind of how they approach it generally. If Epsilon try and read into this, this could be a misread from them. I'm wondering if, you know, when's the moment in their minds so they go, no one's pushed, there's no steps, what's going on? They kind of need to pull a player back through towards connector.
But I mean, just as I was saying before, look at the utility left here for Epsilon. 30 seconds left, no Molotovs, no smokes, and now Na'Vi can do whatever they want towards B.
Sorel needs to buy time or something. He's going to find 1 kill on the way. If they can hinder the plant, that would be phenomenal, at least for a couple of seconds. Then it gets a bit interesting. This is where it gets fun times. We're into a 3v3. The bomb's yet to be planted. Now, last time, Epsilon did make missteps here. They basically ran into it a little early. 7 seconds, and there it is. Simple's going to find Robin trying to deny that plant, but now the bomb is down. It's a 2v3 retake. Zach and Smooya are going to try and find an angle, but Flamey's found it before them. But a misstep happens. Again, Smooya to land it, but now it's the 1v2. Smooya removes. Simple reigns supreme thus far. Zach knows his options are limited. He's trying to find something to work with here, but these guys are locked in for Na'Vi. And as that bomb ticks, his time runs out. Good work towards Simple finding that. But the 1v1, will Electronic let it slip? He waits and he sees. He knows that's not a real defuse. Zach needs to make the move now to deny Electronic everything. And Electronic just readjusting well, and there it is. Book shut, case closed. Na'Vi close again, but they do win it out.
Precisely. No reason there for Electronic to overface. He knows there's only a few seconds left on that bomb defuse. Played passive. Hid behind that single box there towards platform. And extended the time too far as to where T-Sec had to get desperate and had to push into his angle. 9-4, once again for Epsilon, same storyline. You have your buy round, you lose that buy round, suddenly you're forced onto your pistols, your quasi buys, as it seems like Na'Vi should be poised here to get double digits going forward as we are into the penultimate round here of the first half, round number 14. Likely scenario here, we see double digits already for Na'Vi, and 10-4 scoreline as well, Lauren, after losing the pistol. Really goes to show how one-sided this really is.
Yeah, now, I did check HLTV, and it does still state that this was Epsilon's choice, which doesn't play sensibly to my mind, especially with side choices, but it is what it is. I'm going to stick to that. And we'll just kind of continue until told otherwise. But, you know, we did say that Inferno is not a bad map for Epsilon either, so that's going to be in the back of their minds if it does get to it for now. Focused, of course, on this round, because it's still a 3v3. There's still potential, and especially with that man alive. Smooya drills the brain of Flamey, but here's the reply. It's down again to the 1v2. Zach's probably getting sick of this sort of situation, but his positioning might buy him a bit of time. It depends on Zeus here. Great mentality, good read, and that should have been the kill, but he's being careful, Zeus, and he's being rushed here. Zeus is being very cautious. He's not taking a 1v1 fight on his own, and eventually he will find Zach, and that will be Na'Vi again, stretching the lead and getting to those double digits as discussed. But you know what, if Epsilon get this round, a 5-10 score on the half, it does read better than it probably is considering how those rounds have been won by Na'Vi. But regardless, you're still sat at 5-10. There's still potential if they win that pistol, and we know that, at least from my experience, Epsilon's T-sides look far greater than their CTs.
It's very true. I mean, obviously for Cobblestone, it is their map pick. They're going to have strategies, tactics they can fall back on once the sides are flipped. I mean, maybe, just maybe, because they know that Na'Vi love Inferno. At the Major, we saw them play Inferno versus Fnatic, versus Big, versus FaZe.
They're not scared of it, yeah.
No, it's not just that, but maybe they think, okay, well, Na'Vi are going to pick Inferno, so we know Inferno's going to be there anyway. Why not? Why waste our pick on Inferno and throw a curveball in there, try and get Cobblestone, and try and have their pick be our home map, Inferno, and obviously try and get an upset win on Cobblestone, potentially going forward. But as you can see on your screens here at home, 10-4 scoreline after winning the pistol, it hasn't really favored as they expected.
All right, so this is the switch up you were kind of theorizing. Get Smooth towards B plat, get them getting some map control here on the CT side, and it's pretty decent thus far. It is kind of allowing Robin to play away from this, but what if they swing back? Where is that kind of bottom line here?
The biggest thing about having B plat controls, you can see the rotations right now in the CT setup. You can see for Epsilon, 3 players towards the A site. You have Robin holding towards drop, very loosely towards window, but they're willing to take that risk. They're willing to go for the 3-man stack over the potential A split or B split via drop. The issue is it may be poor judgment. 40 seconds left here. And for Na'Vi, look at their utility and then look at Epsilon's. They have their grenades, 2 smokes to work with, 3 Molotovs, a flashbang. And for Epsilon, T-Sac, the only player with a Molotov to try and delay this push.
They're going back to A. Look at the bomb.
So smart. They're reading Epsilon like a book. And this is the paranoia for Epsilon. You lose so many rounds, and you're forced to over-rotate.
But look at the time. If one thing goes wrong for Na'Vi, they don't have a recovery period. And Surreal hindering their approach through drop is great, but it has to come down to Zach here. He has to stop them being able to cross to that bomb. He's going to buy a bit of time here, and he's got to wait for this. And they are going to go for the plant on it. And it looks as though, yeah, this is all falling apart in the last couple of seconds unless Smooya can dig deep. The 1v2, the bomb is planted. It looks like it's Na'Vi's, but maybe Smooya can say something about this. For the final round of the first half, they certainly need it, but look at the boost. This angle works very well for Na'Vi. Smooya sneaks his way in, though. This is an angle and a half, but can he take down 2? He's got an AWP. It's incredibly tough to play retake on, and every angle contains a threat. His brain's ticking through this, working out which angle's the threat, and now he's going to find out right about now. It's 2 players right next to each other. The Tower of Doom will close off the first half here in this first map. Now, Na'Vi looking very dominant beyond the fact of that pistol round kind of run that went quite nicely for Epsilon. They have to really turn up here.
Yeah, I mean, if you factor in the buy rounds as well, I mean, what, 2 buy round victories for Epsilon, I believe? If that, and even then, you know,
They were close rounds, but...
Yeah, they were close rounds, of course, but that's the problem, right? That's the being blessed with a curse, essentially, where you have the round victories, or one player surviving, Cosme winning a 1 versus 2, or Smooth winning the 1 versus 1. Going forward, your money is on a razor's edge, right?
Absolutely.
$3,500, you lose that round, your round loss bonus reset to 1.4K, and then suddenly if you lose that force buy, you're forced onto an eco, And that's where the 3 rounds are consecutively strung together. And that's where you see the massive leaps and bounds in terms of advantages gained by Na'Vi. 11-4 half here. If Na'Vi win the CT-sided pistol, Lauren, this may be the end here on the first map. I mean, yeah, they win the pistol, the bomb doesn't go down, for example. 12-4. Epsilon forced by, they might even force by for the rest of the game. The problem was forced to, as they're lacking so many rounds.
Yeah, it's the win conditions for Epsilon to kind of pull back into this are pretty long. There's a long list of win conditions that need to go right for them to be able to kind of create this opportunity. One, the pistol has to be pretty clean, bomb plants plenty. You need to keep the money away from Na'Vi, and as said, it's very tricky to be in these matches against a team like Na'Vi where they're going to make mistakes. You can't, the forced and unforced errors are going to be very tricky to come through here.
But to play devil's advocate, right, we have seen a 13-2 comeback on the T side from Epsilon, on Inferno, of course. That was versus Valiance. Complete discrepancy in terms of firepower, the caliber of the teams, the strategy as well that comes out from Na'Vi when you do compare those two teams. But now as we wait for the eventual pistol to ensue, obviously it does come down to this very narrow win condition here for Epsilon. Win the pistol, win the first buy round, and maybe there is room for growth. Obviously if they win the pistol, they win versus the force buy. I've already seen them lose versus an eco. But yeah, I mean 11-4 if they win the first buy round, 8-11 if they win again versus the quasi buy from Na'Vi, 9-11 potentially. Even then they're 2 rounds behind, and there's so many what ifs, right? They have to string together 5 rounds in a row, and 5 rounds in a row is hard in itself. But when you're the underdog facing a very large deficit, the stakes are definitely not high here for Epsilon to bring this one back.
No, I'll be interested to see how it works out for them. And for me, I've enjoyed what they've brought so far. It has been quite the one-sided matchup, but it's been exciting to a degree to see Na'Vi playing a good game, not coming in lightly. And again, this kind of plays, at least in my mind, to the fact that this is the IEM qualifiers. This is not just your standard online matchup. This is where these teams do need to focus to get through this. After this round, you get into some very heavy teams coming into it as well. This is still the first best of 3 of many.
Because you got to remember as well, this is the first round. Yeah, this is the first round. Obviously, then it goes on to the quarterfinals, the semifinals. Obviously, there is a lower bracket as well. But as soon as you're hitting the mouse sports, the fanatics and whatnot, that's where you will really be tested. Obviously, for Epsilon, they're being tested currently. What do you reckon, Lauren? Do you think Epsilon bring this one back, or do you think it's pretty much all good and done?
I think if they had more rounds to play with, it could be quite a fun game. The fact
they've
only got
15,
4,
to be fair.
The fact they've only got 4 to their name is the big problem in my eyes. Is that I don't see them going through this without making a couple of mistakes here and there. So even if they do get the pistol, I think obviously it's going to fall Na'Vi's way. I think if they'd maybe walked away with 6 rounds, or enough for a little bit of a buffer, you could have seen a more competitive matchup on this side at least. But it is what it is by this point. Yeah,
I think the salient point we can take from that first half is the drawing the comparisons and utility alone, right? 30 seconds left. Epsilon having 1 flashbang, no smokes left, just a flashbang and maybe an HE grenade, whereas Na'Vi having all of their utility left to basically exploit in the latter portions of the round. But let's see now going forward. It will be 11-4. Epsilon obviously on a knife's edge. If they lose this pistol round, it's pretty much all said and done, as they're going to be taking their risks towards mid.
It's only simple there for now. You've got Electronic working his way over. They know what's happening here. It's just that quick up mid play, go smoke off the doors. Flash comes back in. They should be able to maybe get towards site without losing maybe a player. But by this point, Smooya's actually struck first, and this is good. Great beginning now for Epsilon here. Quite clean thus far. This is part of the win conditions we put down. Now, I'm not saying that's going to really pay off in the long run, but great impact from Smooya here coming in with that P250 dropped over to him, if I'm not mistaken.
But that's such a great round to really sum up these two teams. Pistol round, yes, there's tactics, but is it really as strategic as a fully fledged buy round when you factor in utility, map control, and how you utilize the orbs and all that? When you draw the comparison between the pistol round versus the buy round, right, you can see the firepower is there. For Epsilon, they can shoot back at these guys, right?
Oh, yeah.
Robin, Smooth saw the massive pistol round from Cosmin in both of these rounds, both these pistols, excuse me. But the firepower's there. There's just such a big discrepancy between the tactics that come out, maybe the communication as well, the team play between these two teams. And unfortunately for Epsilon, that's really exploited when the buy rounds are hit.
Oh, yeah. There's never going to be the discussion of aim-wise. Epsilon are very, very diligent. I wouldn't say that you're necessarily going to have anyone who can go consistently toe-to-toe with your simple. You could maybe put Smooya there to a degree, but
it's maybe in a year's time once he's garnered the experience. There is potential there, but obviously
right now,
simple is such an enigma that it's very hard to have. There isn't many players on this planet essentially that can go toe-to-toe in firepower.
You could make. I think you got Nico in that
Cold,
category. Yeah, Cold Zera. Beyond that, it's a very limited list, so it's very tricky to handle. Thus far, though, Epsilon need to keep this round clean again. This is part of it. They can't really lose players. They need to keep plants. You ideally want that MAC-10, that UMP to keep in gear. I do like seeing that Galil coming out. I'm happy to see teams kind of playing with this sort of idea as well. I guess it's kind of the policy of trying not to lose out on too much, and you know, so far it's working. It still gives you a little bit of range. Obviously, not going to wield you as much money as you might be seeing on the UMPs and SMGs and such. But it's down to Edward now, and 4 alive, bomb plant as well. 3 alive, bomb plant as well. Rifle recovered. Maybe not. Cosmine should be fighting that. Maybe put the UMP into that fact.
Indeed. Obviously, you mentioned the Galil point. It's quite interesting as well when you factor in why teams maybe have favoured the Galil now in recent times. Obviously, before the UMP nerf, where the UMP was basically gospel, it was the most ridiculous weapon to have in the second round buy round. It was so effective, 4 bullets to close range to kill. Obviously, $600 per frag, so cheap as well at $1,200. It's basically an AWPer's dream, right? A cash cow to utilize to buy the AWP. But now, you know, for the Galil, right, $2,000 investment versus the $2,700 for the AK. Obviously, it's only $700 between it. You get a massive firepower advantage having the AK, but then again, right, once you win the pistol, how much money have you really got to spend? You know, 3,500 or 3,700, you know, maybe 4,000 if you get a frag. If you want to buy utility with the AK, it's very difficult. A lot of the times it's an AK Kevlar smoke grenade or an AK Kevlar, nothing else. If you want to have a rifle and utility, the Galil is there for that option, right? You lack a little bit of firepower, but the extra $700 between the two weapons, you can invest that into smoke double flashbang, for example.
Well, here we get the fun part. It's not on the T side, but if you play CS, you know of the Russian buy, where it's one rifle, bit of armor, and everyone else is on pistols. But it is on the CT side. I'm wondering if Edward can make something happen, and he certainly is. Cosmine goes down. That's not how you want to start things off here. Epsilon maybe not being complacent, but being reminded there are threats here. You cannot take these rounds lightly. If you want to find where Edward is, that's great, but you've got to be careful once you do. He's a dangerous man. And he's not being static either. You can see he's already playing his way back through towards connector, maybe feeling out this could be the A hit. So if he can find more kills, there's Deagles up, there's P250s. You've got to hope there's some kills here now for Epsilon coming in thick and fast. Simple going to swing out. It's Edward again to find Surreal. He does eventually go down. Smoothie has dealt with him. Neutralized that threat. More threats come through the smoke, but it's down to 2 now as Electronic takes his time and he makes it perfect. One more would have been extremely diligent, but no. He does what he can. That was still a very impactful round for Na'Vi. We do see 2 rifles retained for the T side and a reinvestment now. So their money's good. They're in a good position, but this is now getting towards game time here.
Yeah, and now for the win conditions or the keys to victory for Epsilon, it had to be the first round victory as well, right? Get to this 11-7 standpoint. Congratulations, you've made it this far, but now the real test is here. We're entering the buy rounds. It's no longer the pure skill and the pistol rounds where you can go toe-to-toe, you know. We've already discussed this enough here where Epsilon have the skill to fight back. But obviously once the tactics and the communication, the team play is all factored in, Na'Vi are definitely a caliber above. But now let's see, 5 rifles here for Na'Vi. Usually when you are lacking the open the CT side, you would see some aggression, maybe boost towards drop. But they can utilize, obviously, the smoke towards the end of the platform, the Molotov coming out towards the cubby towards the end of the platform, the flashbang as well. Go for the face, gain map control, and from there, let's see where they can try and flush out Epsilon, as if they can become wise as to where Epsilon eventually going to be committing.
Now, I do like the way they have made up for the lack of utility, lack of kits, lack of AWP with that aggression.
Control,
it's so smart, unleashing Simple to do this. They know exactly what's going on to a pretty large margin. Now, as Na'Vi has been so neutered, the retakes will be tricky. If that bomb plant comes in and it's relatively well placed, it could be quite a fun one.
You could argue, actually, the fact that they have 5 M4s, lacking an AWP could be better for the retakes, obviously. We know how hard the AWP is to use there, but you're not wrong, right? Having the no diffuse kit by, once the retake does come to fruition, could definitely cause problems. But for Zeus, actually the flash will not connect, but his bullets will. First frag found here for Na'Vi.
This looks like the book has been read and it's being thrown back into the face of Epsilon. And yeah, with this many players in one position, you have the entirety of Na'Vi here. You're not going to get much done. Sadly, for Epsilon, yeah, they did okay to this point, but they didn't hold overall map control. They allowed Simple to push all the way up B plat, have a little look around, saw nothing, backed away with very limited time left. The hit came through from Epsilon, and you had 4 players already on that site.
But this is the thing I was speaking about before for Epsilon. You know, if you gain map control, it was far in between, right? In a sense that they'd do it one round and then they wouldn't do it. They'd do another round, or when they did it, they would leave plat. This is a really weird thing, you know. Smooth Surreal would take plat control, then they'd leave platform. You saw the stark contrast where Simple, he doesn't leave platform. He goes in towards the cubby, towards the double box boost, and instead he holds there. He's not overfacing, he's not pushing. He is the insurance policy in terms of information for Na'Vi that they know Epsilon aren't coming towards his B bomb, so they can leave Simple alone towards B. You could then have your drop player play towards window. That way he can still watch drop, but it's also fast rotation towards the A site. You have 3 players towards A, and essentially it's 4 players close netted in towards the A bomb site. Sorry, it's a very hard round for Na'Vi to lose as they have players on call. Anyway, though, 12 to 7 here, minute 10 left on the clock, and already Simple will find the first frag. As it seems like with the eco here for Epsilon, they're going to be saving in for round number 21, but will it be too late?
These are the questions we're going to find answers to pretty darn soon. Robin, still look above the smoke there. Not going to find the shot. And looking at Na'Vi, this could be a very clean round for Alive, and they retain the 4. Good kills coming through, not really allowing many steps for mistakes, and kind of keeping control of the map and what they divide as their portions. And this could be the real kind of, not last throw in, but this is the real competitive, I think, marker that's about to come out for Epsilon. You win this round, it's back game on, right? That kind of keeps Na'Vi's money in a questionable spot down the line. They've got a good investment here, though, Na'Vi. This time, full utility kit. You've got the AWP on Flamey. I mean, they've got a lot to work with now. Yeah,
on the flip side as well, if you look at it round by round basis, you're not wrong again. 14 to 7 if Na'Vi win this one, and an eco from Epsilon, 15 to 7.
Smooya, what's the game plan?
It's a good, actually, that's actually a good play. I know he actually did die there, but obviously sometimes it can be a smart decision, but poor execution. Speaking of execution, Zeus will find 2 heads, and not before as what it does damage to Surreal. 4 versus 3. But to go back to that point, right, actually, that's actually a very good peek to do. The closer you are to a Molotov, obviously the better vision you have over it. One of the things we saw Fallen do initially was he would molly out towards a long, he would run close and peek over the Molotov, and you can actually challenge an AWPer, challenge a player towards a long with a massive advantage of visibility. But obviously he didn't see Zeus, pulled his knife out, and he died.
The theory was there. As said, the execution may be a little bit not on point. But what is on point is that shot. Phenomenal stuff. Flamey's just been absolutely scythed. And now it's a 3v1. Electronics probably just going to have to save this one out. If you're feeling a bit spicy, maybe you can do something. But I mean, if you cost Epsilon money, that's also pretty good at this point. If you're looking at a long-term plan, take away any guns you can, challenge a little bit. I'm pretty sure Na'Vi's money is in a decent spot. I'm not sure if it's just Electronic who's a little low for funding. I'm not too certain. That was a very big investment from Na'Vi this round. Again, though, for Epsilon, very fine margins to be working with here. A win here is good. Retaining the guns, obviously brilliant as well.
So, question is now, how much money or how much cash has Na'Vi got left after claiming the last 2 buy rounds? And the answer is not much. They will get their 1.4k round loss bonus. Oh, if we can see the money again real quick. So, Zeus can buy, Simple can buy, Flamer can buy. And obviously, if Electronic saves, he can drop over a Fan Master or a UMP to Edward. So we could be seeing a strong buy. Ooh. See if he does save. And actually, Cosme will fire that frag. So 13 to 8. They can get 3 rifles as predicted. And obviously, for Na'Vi, it feels like there's a hair trigger on the call to go for that force buy coming up from Zeus. As it's going to be, so far, 2 M4s. Zeus right now contemplating, obviously, do I go for the UMP utility? But it seems like firepower will be the decisive move today. 3 M4s, no diffusers once again for Na'Vi, so aggression may be set as the president here for the CT side. As actually, it will be the boost towards drop, so it's no longer plat control. I said as well in the last one, you can push towards plat, you can boost towards drop, get in close range with those up close and personal pistols.
Well, this is going to be interesting. If Electronic gets a kill here and gets it for free, that's a little bit problematic. Yeah, he's allowed to back away here. This is... it's a little worrying when this happens. Smooya's trying to just make sure these corners are checked now. But losing out a player for free at this point. Now they've lost out on a lot of map control. Information has been filtered through to Na'Vi. They can position accordingly however they feel they want to read this one out. Pressure on long, though. Robin having a little look and forcing Zeus away from this. So reining in what Na'Vi can see and control.
Problem for Robin, obviously. He's used his utility to gain control towards a long. A nice frag there found by Smooya. Zed was trying to get aggressive there and gain some map control towards B platform. 4 versus 4 now. And still be making their way back towards the A bombs like Zeus. Could get the drop on Cosme in here. And may actually hear the players running through Dragonlaw. You can see him readjusting his crosshair as if he's heard it. And look at the rotations here. Cavalry's on its way now towards A.
and no one's ahead of the curve. Zach, I don't think he's expecting someone this close. I think you're going to go through the motions of looking for it, but they haven't done this yet. They haven't had a player that close. He does look for it. He went for that one, and now Smooya deals with him. Zeus removed. It's a 2v2 now with 23 seconds left. They've got to get to the site, but Simple and Flamey stand in their way. But oh my word, Smooya is going off right now. 17 seconds,
oh my
and
God, I don't
Zach
think he has
is
time.
booking it. 14-13. He can get a plant out of this, but can he plant safe? I don't know. And Simple is hot on his heels here. Let's keep eyes on Simple in this one too. Zach going to go for the arc plant position. He's going to get himself towards platform, but Simple doesn't know that. He's going to know roughly where the bomb's planted. You can see that on the map, but he doesn't know if he's close, if he's playing on that kind of speedway side. So much here to be seen.
Has the flashbang. Simple as well, having no kit, which means extended 5 seconds there for the defuse. T-Stack, if he can play this one smart, maybe fakes some noise when Simple taps it, or he throws a flashbang out when Simple taps it, tries his best to try and delay the defuse.
But he can't see the defuse.
Work the clock.
The thing is that it's down to just sheer nerve at this point. Zach is doing wonderfully at this, and he will be found by Simple, but there is no time left, I'm pretty certain at this point. And yeah, Simple's out of there. Good work in the end from Zach. That plant, a little confusing maybe to Simple going, well, he can't see it from up there, so where is this guy? But whatever happened, it worked. But the real story in my eyes there was Smooya pulling it back in from the brink. That felt like a lost round to me after those kind of initial kills came in.
And the information as well.
Exactly. They had a lot of what was happening. Zeus making the call, guys, I can hear him running through Dragon Lore, and then it just got completely switched on its head. And now the money's depleted from Na'Vi. They're going, I'm pretty sure, on a force buy here. Yeah, they're down to very limited amounts. But this is a really good swing coming in from Epsilon.
If they win this round here, Lauren, we're going to be seeing double digits as well for Epsilon, 13-10. This is the force buy for Na'Vi as well. When you factor that in, an eco potentially in the next round here for the CT side. So for Epsilon, if they can claim another buy round victory, they're going to force Na'Vi onto an eco. We said about the keys to victory, it is about resetting the money for Na'Vi, keeping the money so low that they're either forced into going for the force buys, or they try and force ecos. Even if they don't force into it, if they just go for the eco rounds, that's still good enough for Epsilon to try and gain the quote-unquote free rounds. Obviously, money isn't really too impactful. You know, when you go into the latter portions or the later stages of these maps, rounds are the commodities, not actually the dollars. Anyway, though, 13-9, minute left on the clock here. 3 players out and stationed towards drop. Is this going to be drop control potential to come out here from Epsilon? As they can work their magic as well back towards B platform. Once you have control of drop, obviously you can go for the splits towards A or B. Oh, there's a massive gap in that smoke, and Smear is going to see if he can try and gain an advantage with that.
They do have one Molotov left on Cosmine. They have to check on this corner, otherwise Simple will do terrible things to Epsilon. Zach has maybe an idea that someone could be there. They have to place this. I see Cosmine with it in hand now. They're going to go on this. And that, no, the Molotov goes to stairs. Simple holds his nerve. That's great. They check it on the second playthrough. Now Edward up from the tree does do well. He finds 2 kills there. Smooya and Surreal down, but the site is now in control. Bomb not planted, though. That is loose. And that's where the problem now stems. You've got 20 seconds. You've got 2 players in drop that can still hinder this. But now with the bomb being planted, it looks like Epsilon are certainly dealing with this well. Electronics on 16 HP. Impact is almost nullified at this point. Time to back away, keep control of what you have, maybe get an exit if you can. But as we speak, Epsilon are about to get back into this one. 13-10 is going to be that scoreline.
Electronic trying his best to save the CZ, and Kevlar going forward into the next round, round number 24, as it's going to be double digits now eventually for the international squad of Epsilon. 13-10, Na'Vi now forced onto a weak buy at that eco potentially. If we do see the 13-11 scoreline, I mean, this is one of the nice things we see. Electronic actually so close to potentially walking into the crosshair of Cosmine. But one of the nice things we see when it comes into this scenario where Na'Vi have the maximum round loss bonus and Epsilon have all the momentum and everything's going in their favor, is it's almost like a 2-for-1 sale, right? Listen, you win a round, and then you force out the pistols, you force out the quasi-buy. Essentially, what separates these two teams after the eco in this one, as long as Epsilon win it, 13-11, it all boils down to 1 buy round. Obviously, you win the buy round, you force out the pistols, you force out the weak quasi-buy. Obviously, some teams in those rounds actually go for a full eco as well. That way they have more utility, maybe 2 AWPs as well. We've seen Flamey pull out an AWP already. For Na'Vi, we could be seeing Simple, Flamey. And who knows what the AWP here for the CT side of Na'Vi. But that's the salient point there, right? 2-for-1 in terms of, is it only 1 buy round right now separating these two teams? As long as Epsilon don't choke, don't fold versus the pistols.
Keep in mind for Na'Vi here as well, you know, these guys have their own demons as a team. They've had a lot of upset results where they should have been the clear victor and let it slip. They've had a couple of bad runs of things going, you know, poorly for them. It looked like this was kind of the recovery period, though they've been starting to pull off better results, starting to look more consistent. But you don't want to start a game off like this, kind of rekindling that sort of feeling of, is this one of those other games where we're going to get that result that doesn't favor us? Is this how our, run to Katowice really starts? And it's a huge moment for Epsilon, a huge boost if they get one map out, even out of 3, which is obviously a best of 3 here. But for Na'Vi, what a huge problem it would be. The monkey on the back would certainly be the case here. But for now, they are still in the lead. That is a point to bring up later, as now we see if Epsilon can maybe do something. A full read coming through. Na'Vi know what's going on. You've got Zeus around the back, so you've got to be careful here, Epsilon. You're leaving this clock a little thin. And if anything, if you're against Na'Vi, they know how to play these rounds. They kind of like doing it themselves. But it does seem as though it has been pushed aside. Good to see the MAC-10s doing the damage, and Zeus, really nice timing there to find Robin. But 3 alive, 3 rifles retained, which is the imperative part, but it does allow a little bit of money to slip into the hands of Na'Vi.
Yeah, I mean, money right now for Epsilon as well. You can see $6,000 across the board, aggregately for the Epsilon players, so even if we see Na'Vi potentially string 2 rounds together, right, even if it goes 15 to 11, Epsilon can continuously buy back for potentially the remaining 2 or 3 rounds. So the real question here for Na'Vi is, can they finally find their form, find their footing on their CT half here, initially 11-4 scoreline?
Are they going to just switch up the pace here, Epsilon? I'd absolutely love that. They know there's not going to be an AWP into play. They're going quite aggressive on this, and yeah, they are. This is maybe going to put Na'Vi right on tilt, but Edward's already dealt with Cosmine. That's your first man in. That's the kind of spear point. Surreal looks for the trade, and he gets it. The smoke wall is up, but look at Electronic. He might have an angle about this. No! It's Surreal and Zack to take them down. This is excellent stuff. 4 alive and a bomb plant to boot. This looks like another one for Epsilon.
Smoke's beginning to fade. 4 versus 2. No defuse killer to try and see if they can aid themselves in the afterplant. And there you have it. Smooya, UK's hope, the UK's hero, chimes with the remaining 2 frags, 13-12. And now it's on to touching distance between these 2 teams. 13-12. 1 round separates us. And actually a quasi round being that 1 round, that defining round before we could potentially see all things tied up. 13-13. Epsilon already garnered themselves 8 rounds on their T side. And the question is, where is this on their CT side? Why are they so lackluster on their defense?
Look, we can question that when they're not almost beating Na'Vi, I'll let them get away with it if they can pull it back this far for now. Again, what a pressure point to push on. That round was, the defining one, just go for that quick, aggressive play, but Edward just going to take the scalp of Cosmine and leave him left worse for wear.
Yeah, definitely. 5 versus 4 here. But nevertheless, for Epsilon, the storyline still reads as, what great experience here for Epsilon, right? Going forward as a team, one of the big benefits of qualifying for the closed qualifier through the open qualifier is not only the plethora of officials you play, obviously the more officials you play, more comfortable you get, the more strats you can push out, and the more drilled you can become, but also the experience versus these sorts of teams, the Na'Vis.
Good spray from Robin to find Simple. Looked a little dangerous at points. You still have Zeus up on long. That should be a threat that they're keeping tabs on. And Electronic going to find Robin there. So put him out of his misery. He was very low already. Edward was the first man to strike, but is no one watching for Zeus? Lurking away in the depths, he does well. Surreal down, but the bomb plant gets hindered for a second. And you can see Edward trying to capitalize on that moment, but couldn't get it done. And there it is. We're back all even, 13-13. It felt like the win conditions, the list was too long for Epsilon to do it, but here they are. And here we are at an evenly tied game. Best of 3 overall. Next up would be Inferno, that being Na'Vi's choice, but a good map for Epsilon. However, this game is not done, but look at that run of rounds on this T side. Double AWP being brought out here now.
So, for Na'Vi, bringing out the double AWP setup, are they hoping that Epsilon go for the contact plays, maybe utilizing the AWPs in an advantage where they hope that Epsilon just walk into their crosshair, and obviously for Simple, known for landing those audacious and skillful flicks. Man advantage now off the back of the double AWP investment. And for Na'Vi now, we're finally seeing something optimistic, or something we can be writing home about, in a sense that the advantage is finally in the court for the CT-sided team. It feels like it's all been T-sided here on Cobblestone. But 5 versus 4 and for Epsilon, if they're going to give up full control towards this A site, if they wait too long here towards this B bomb site, Lauren, we could be seeing a 4-man rotation from Na'Vi towards this B bomb site. And if that doesn't occur, this could be the downfall here for Epsilon. Minute 10 left on the clock here. It will be drop control coming out from Epsilon, so they can go for the B split. They're waiting for the smokes to eventually dissipate towards B platform, as drop is now in the hands of Epsilon. And here's the rotation I was speaking about. Zeus leaving towards the A site, Simple left alone to AWP on his low swim towards A as the solo anchor towards the A site, but a 4-man rotation in as Epsilon make their move.
They have nothing left to make this hit with as well, apart from the guns in their hands, and that does not work well. Edward, the linchpin of denying everything then as well, beautifully held.
This is the problem here for Epsilon. You lose that first frag, Lauren, and suddenly become so one-dimensional. Very easily read. Simple, obviously, as soon as the grenades and the footsteps were heard towards drop, towards platform, they knew as a bare minimum there's going to be 3 players there. You hear 2 players towards plat, you hear players in towards drop. Simple, he clears A long, he's peeking towards middle, he sees no one. He can tell Zeus, you know what, rotate towards window, play 2 towards drop, or play 4 or 3 towards that B bomb site. And have a extremely strong and oversaturated CT side defense towards B, as it will be paying its dividends back, 14-13, but obviously it sets the narrative of the looming reset now for Na'Vi. Will it be a 14-14 scoreline? Will it be a bare bones bye into round number 29 for Na'Vi? Or will Epsilon let it slip just as we get towards the finish line?
You also need Surreal and Smooya to be in these rounds. Those two have been your headliners, but look who stands in their way here. Simple. The man, the myth, some might say the legend at this point. Surreal's going to show a little and gets away with it, actually. So readjustment, information found for Na'Vi, but nothing lost yet really for Epsilon. They still have time to adjust off the back. They don't need to go, running in and just hope for the best. It does kind of cause a little bit of a encouragement towards drop. It does make them try and show, but that's big. Smooya finding Simple is massive at this point. We now have 2 players quickly trying to adjust themselves towards A here. Zeus being 1. He gets away with murder, finding Surreal, but Robin trades. Excellent work. Electronic, though, perfectly flashed in to find Smooya, can now buy time on the site. The rotates come in. Your kind of swing factor here might be Cosmine. If he can find something.
Oh my goodness, they have time to rotate back as well. They can go all the way back in towards Dragonlord, towards T-Spawn, and make their mark in towards this B bomb site. Look at the lack of utility, though. Now the Flamey's found that frag. There's no smoke to aid them in the cross, and they have to eventually commit, unless they run down drop towards A.
Surely no time, 20 seconds. It's not Zach to hit 2 back-to-back shots. The flash is actually helping them out here, but Flamey says a big no. And actually, Robin's still in this, 2 kills, and if he takes down 1, he's got the 1v1. This is very, very possible if he gets this kill very, very, very quick, and that's not been the case. 7 seconds now. He's doing the best he can, but it's just not good enough. And Na'Vi push themselves to 15 here. 1 more round, and this map is theirs. Pretty heartbreaking for Epsilon at this point. They've been very much at the cusp of taking this over. And, in reflection down the line, probably a moment to be very proud of to get it to this point. But for now, incredibly frustrating. It felt like the game was in your hands. Potential for overtime still available, though.
Obviously, for Epsilon, claiming, I believe it was, 9 rounds so far on the T side. They have money to work with coming into potentially the final round here. Round number 29 is going to be the 4. AK set up here from Epsilon on the T side. Smoke coming in towards the end of long again. They know that they can gain control towards long. This is the thing, right? Flashing the angle off. Forcing Simple back towards Wood, forcing him back towards the A bomb site. As long as they can force the CTs on towards the site and they can execute upon A, maybe there's still a lifeline here for Epsilon.
Ooh, Simple. Got a little bit of info, but took a lot of damage for it. And he didn't see everything. He saw 1 player towards long, so that's not going to change the entirety of this round. You can still see that Na'Vi are holding roughly where they are. A little more of a lean towards A, but it's minimal for now. Now, last time around, Epsilon kind of left themselves with very limited options.
Yeah, speaking of limited options, Flamey, once again with a plat control coming out from the city side of Na'Vi. They have full reign towards B, leaving the AWP alone here, which means they have early information, they have the AWP holding the long-range angle, and they can rotate the extra players there. But actually, it seems like they've caught wind of something. Something doesn't seem quite right here from Epsilon. And it will be a 2-1-2 setup as Flamey will actually be blind off the angle. Will he go for the reface? Will there be a good flashbang for him? Actually, you can see Electronic as well playing the cubby. If Flamey baits for him, this could be catastrophic.
And there's no Molotovs. There's nothing to be able to clear this down. Actually, Electronic takes the fight early and completely destroys 2 players. It's Robin on the hunt, though. He tries to run into it. He gets cut down. And Electronic is...
Oh!
Absolutely supreme play from Electronic. This guy is a beast. And there it is. Map 1 done and dusted. But what
Great
a way
game,
to kick this off. It felt very one-sided. It felt like that was kind of almost done before it began. But in the second half, what a recovery from Epsilon till just at the very end.